We are now just hours away from what's expected to be one of the most historic hurricanes to make landfall on the Gulf Coast of Florida. Milton is currently a Category 5 with maximum winds gusting up to 165 miles an hour. This video shows NOAA's hurricane hunters flying through that storm. Really bumpy ride. Lots of turbulence, things flying off the shelves inside their plane. Milton is just miles away from the coast, and it's expected to hit the Tampa Bay region. Mass evacuations are underway. State and federal authorities are at the ready, and Floridians are doing the best they can to clean up, board up, and protect themselves and their property before Milton hits. That includes animals and wildlife. Did you think about that angle? Maybe not. Joining me now is Ron Magill, Director of Communications for the Zoo Miami. Ron, you and I are usually talking about fun stuff like, sports predictions based on mascots. Thank you for being with me on such a big day.
Oh, my pleasure, Markie.
Yeah, good to see you again. I understand Zoo Miami, not in the direct path of Milton, but you have more than 40 years of experience in wildlife conservation. How worried are you about the zoos and aquariums along the Gulf Coast?
I'm deeply worried. I mean, when you talk about Tampa Zoo, the Florida Aquarium, these are places that are so, exposed right now to this monstrous storm. Having lived through Andrew and Wilma here in Miami when we were devastated by those storms, I can only just imagine what's going to happen up there. So it is really a catastrophic, what's going to happen to them could just be overwhelming.
Yeah, it's hard to even put into words what's about to happen, and especially in the last couple of weeks. Are there certain animals that are more at risk than others, or, aquariums with all the glass in the water?
Well, the aquariums really are a big concern because now the storm surge can come in and corrupt and, disable these filtration systems, which are really the life support systems for these animals. It's not as easy to move these aquatic animals to different places. A misconception people have about zoos and aquariums is that we evacuate animals. We send them to another location. That rarely, if ever, happens. What we do in zoos and aquariums is we take the more susceptible animals like birds, the smaller mammals. We will kind of take them and put them into small sky kennels, like what you transport them on an airplane, and then put those kennels in fortified buildings within the zoo property. Things like rhinos and giraffes and elephants, they're not moved at all. They're put into their barns, which are generally built with such a strong, poured concrete and welded metal that they can sustain the storm. So those animals aren't moved for a couple of reasons. When you move animals, the stress you put on them sometimes is more dangerous than the storm itself. And you may be moving them, evacuating to an area where the storm all of a sudden takes a turn and goes right to that area anyway. So you can't really predict that. At the end of the day, we don't move animals until the very last minute, and we only move them usually within the park to safer areas.
Yeah, it breaks my heart to think about how scared, a lot of them will be later tonight. So is that what Tampa's doing? Tampa, they have kept them put, and will there be somebody there overnight with them watching over?
Generally speaking, there's a protocol. All accredited zoos have different protocols to meet that accreditation. And one of them is, during a storm like this, you have a team that stays on grounds 24/7. We have the same routine here, the same protocol here at the zoo, where we have a team because right following the storm, at least here at Zoo Miami, we have what's called a lethal response team, the LRT. And they would be the first ones to go out with rifles right after a storm to ensure that all dangerous animals are still secure. They have to do a whole sweep of the park to ensure those animals are still secure before a green light is given for other people to go out to then start clearing way to get to the other animals. So the number one priority is safety for the public by ensuring that these animals are still secure, and then afterwards clearing ways to get to them to take care of them.
Yeah. Well, Ron Magill, we're certainly praying for all the wildlife, all the people across your state today. Thank you, as usual, for being with me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Markie.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.